everybody, it's Miss Piper here with another installment of What's Miss Piper Doing in Social Distancing? And the answer this week is not a whole lot. Pulling lots of weeds. That's about it. So what I thought I'd do, since today is Earth Day, happy Earth Day, I thought I would give you a tour of the Miss Piper homestead so you can see what I do here to kind of be environmentally conscious and take care of the environment here in my little space. So we are here starting this off in my shed. And if you recall, when we had our solar panel up and working, before we got shut down by the health department, I had one installed here. So I have the same system that we had in the classroom. I had it here. So what we have here, here's the battery. And so since I had to move the one that we had at school, I moved one here. So now I've got two here. So I can be charging one while I'm using the other one. So all of the lights that I have in the shed, because it doesn't have electricity out here, so all the lights that I have are powered by those batteries, which are charged by the sun. And I don't get a whole lot of sun here because I'm kind of surrounded by trees. So I just get sun in the afternoon, but I have it pointed there. So I get plenty to charge it for what I need. I have turned, what I'm using are grow lights in here because I've kind of turned my shed into kind of a makeshift greenhouse so that I could keep some plants going over the winter. And this was the first year that I incorporated it, and it seems to have worked well because they survived the winter. So it's doing good. So those are the batteries, and here is the solar panel right here. You can see that. And out there, see, I get blocked by a lot of trees. So, but during the afternoon is when I get most of the sun, because that would be west and that's east. So it rises over there, comes up behind the trees like high noon, and then sets over there. So there's my solar panel workings. So let's go take a look at the compost bin. All right, so here is my compost bin. Yes, I know it's fallen down, cutting some slack. It's on my project list of things I need to do. So this is going to get rebuilt at some point in time. Because yes, my compost bin is in the process of composting. But anyway, so what I have going on over here is that is where I have the big stuff, like the big sticks and things that fall. Here is where I'm waiting for it to process. So it's getting broken down. So I'm not putting anything in the middle. I'm putting things here where you can see I just dumped some grass that I cut the other day. And so I'm dumping stuff here while this kind of does its thing. And then next season I will start letting that go and then start dumping stuff in there. So that's that. And then right here, this tub here is where I put food waste. So my banana peels, my avocado pits, apple cores, any kind of food waste when I clean out the refrigerator, as long as it's not meat, as long as it's not cheese, as long as it's not acidic like oranges or something like that, because there are lots of worms in here. So at some point I threw some weeds in here, which can go in there as well. In fact, it's good to have a mixture of grass and weeds in there along with the food waste. And so worms got in there, and now it's like got tons of worms in it. So that is actually where I get the worms for our worm bin. And that is here at my place now too. So I'm going to work with that, get it going, because we need more worms in it, because I think that was why it wasn't composting very fast, because we didn't have enough worms in there. So I'm going to try to get more worms in there and get it working more efficiently. So let's take a look at how this, so I just tipped it over. So I flung it around, And now you can see, you see worms even on the outside. See them there on the sides. And so that all used to be food waste, but now it just looks like very rich organic soil, which is what it is. See a big clump of worms down there? I'm gonna grab some of these out and throw them in the worm bin so I can get that started. The thing that is not completely composted there, that looks like a pumpkin, the outside of a pumpkin, probably from the fall. Avocados are really slow at composting, so I see some of those in there. Pumpkin seeds. Oftentimes, when I throw pumpkins into the car's gone by, and I look weird talking to my compost bin. So I throw pumpkins into the compost, and then several years I've had pumpkins grow in my compost, and so that's been pretty cool. They don't grow very big, but that's been pretty awesome to just throw a pumpkin in there, and then in the fall I got pumpkins, so that's pretty cool. All right, so let's go take a look at the chickens. So here is my chicken coop. I am down to 1 chicken. The most we ever had was 3 chickens, but Martha Stewart, she was got by a possum, sadly. Cluck, she just died a few years ago of natural causes, and so we have Peep is left. So that is Peep in there. She is, so her birthday was just this past month, and so now she is 9 years old. So that's pretty old for a chicken. From my research, I found out that the lifespan of a backyard chicken is about from 8 to 15 years. So she's getting up there. She hasn't laid any eggs yet this year. Last summer she laid maybe 3 all summer. So when she first started laying eggs, they would lay eggs throughout the year. They would just slow down a little bit during the winter. But then, as they got, so after a couple years, then they started just laying during the summertime. They would start about March or April and go through about September, October. And then that season got shorter and shorter as the older they get. And so now she hasn't laid a single egg yet this year. So still waiting to see if an egg comes this year. But she's an old girl, so I don't know if that's going to happen. But we will take a closer look at Peep. All right, so here we are with Peep. Say hi to the children, Peep. Hi, children. Of all the chickens, 3 chickens that we've had, she has always been the meanest. She likes to peck at people. But I think that's because the other 2 chickens used to pick on her, and so that made her mean. Kind of a life lesson right there. Indy, no. Can't get the chicken. All right, so there's Peepers. Isn't she cute? Oh, you're so cute, Peep. You're so cute. So these are the mason bee houses. So these are not bumblebees. These are for mason bees, which are native bees. Honeybees are actually not native to North America. The settlers from England, when they came over, they brought the honeybees with them. So in the little holes, you see some of these are occupied. Those were done by mason bees. So they lay their eggs in there. Mason bees do not sting, but they are very good pollinators. This one has even more things filled up in there. So these tubes, they go in there, they collect mud and things and put those in there, and that's where they have the young ones. So those are the mason bees. Bees are endangered right now because a lot of the honeybee colonies are dying, but mason bees are native and easy for everybody to have around, and they're very safe because they don't sting. and very good pollinators. So that's my little contribution to helping the pollination of anything that needs pollinated. Here is a birdhouse that I have on my back fence. Last year, there was a little bird family that built a nest in there, and it's still in there. You can see that it's not being used this year. It's empty, but there were some eggs in there last spring, and if I recall, they were little juncos. They have a real black head, small bird, very common in this area. And so they laid some eggs in there, saw them flitting about all over, going in and out, finding food for the babies, and they have since left. So habitat for our bird friends. And now it is time for our recycling lesson. So I have my recycling bin here. Now I keep this bin in my garage, and then once this gets full, then I dump it in the big bin that I take to the curb every 2 weeks. So the recycling gets picked up every 2 weeks. The trash gets picked up every week. And so I want you guys to make sure that in your household, recycling is getting done properly. And now you will be able to make sure that you know how to do it properly. So I am going off of this brochure that I've gotten from the waste management people, and they are the people who pick up the trash. Some of you may have a yard or food waste bin. It's got a green lid. I do not have one of those because they are not available in my area. So if you have one of those, you can put anything that's compostable, anything that I throw into my compost, like the food waste and the grass trimmings and stuff, you can throw that into this one. The recycling bin has the blue lid, and this is what I'm going to teach you what to put in there. And so the same things that we did in the classroom, like the paper and the proper plastics and things like that, I'll explain that. And then the black lid, or my garbage container, is just all completely green. It's a smaller one. So the garbage has the black lid, the blue lid is the recycling, and the green lid is the food waste. So inside it tells us what we are supposed to put in each. So we're going to look here at the recycling one. So if you notice here, it says empty of all food and liquids. That's why I always say dump the milk carton or the milk out of the milk carton and rinse it clean, because you see right there it says rinse clean. Do not bag items and place recyclables loose in the cart. So here's a copy of what I am attaching to your agenda for today. So this is what goes inside of your curbside recycling. Now notice that you cannot put plastic bags in the recycling. Those have to be taken back to the store, and lots of stores will take any bag from any store to be recycled, because they can't go in the regular curbside recycling because they clog up the machines, and then people actually have to get in there and unclog them. So the reason that they don't have you put food into the recycling, why it has to be cleaned of any food residue, is because it starts to mold and then it ruins that entire recycling batch. So they have these rules in place for a reason. It's not just to make you miserable, but it ruins the whole recycling process if it's not done properly. So no food residue, no plastic bags, only certain plastic products. So make sure you're checking to make sure that it is recyclable before you put it in the recycling bin. Okay, here we have an egg carton. Notice the egg carton is empty. It has been used. It is completely made out of paper and cardboard, so it is going to be placed into the bin. This is an empty can. It has been rinsed out, and it is completely empty. It is completely aluminum, and it is easily recyclable. I believe one of our factoids earlier this year was one can light a light bulb for like 100 hours or something. I don't know, it was something really big like that. So cans go into the recycling bin. This is a glass jar. Notice it has been cleaned out. It has no food residue in it. And the lid has been removed. The lid does not go into the recycling bin. The glass can be recycled infinitely. Glass is a truly recyclable material, so it goes into the recycling bin. Now, oftentimes I don't even put these in the recycling bin. We just reuse them for something else. This is a bag from a food establishment. Notice that it has no food residue on it on either side. It is completely clean. If it has food residue on it, it is not supposed to go into the recycling. It can go into the compost, but not the recycling if it has food residue on it. Now, we could put this in the compost or we could put it in the recycling, but we are going to put this one in the recycling today. This is a yogurt cup. Notice the lid has been removed. Lids are not supposed to go in. It has been cleaned out on the inside. There is no food residue left on the inside, and it goes into the recycling bin. This is another item that I have many of that can be reused in many ways to mix paint, a variety of kind of things that it has uses for. This is a used tissue box. Remember, we often had this situation in the classroom. So the box has to be flattened. Flatten the box. Take the box apart where at the seams and just flatten it. Notice that the plastic part where you take the tissue out has been removed. There is no plastic part in the tissue box. That is supposed to go in the trash. The box goes in the recycling bin. This is a box of waffle mix, which was quite delicious, by the way. The box has been flattened. Notice the seams have been just taken apart, flatten the box, and it goes into the recycling bin. This is just a random piece of cardboard that I got. I think it was from, I ordered some books online and it came in the box, something like that. So this is just a piece of cardboard. It's already flattened. Nothing needs to be done with it. It just goes into the recycling bin. So that concludes the Earth Day tour of the Piper homestead. Some improvements I would like to make is I'm currently working on taking out a lot of the grass and getting in more native plants to increase the biodiversity, because grass, just big lawns, are not very biodiverse. I was so excited because my neighbor across the street sent me some pictures that she took in the morning when I'm usually not up of deer were in my front yard. I was so freaking excited. I had deer in my yard. I love deer, and they were in my yard. And so I want to plant some things to encourage more deer to come because that's awesome. So I'm working on that. So I'm trying to learn a lot more about native species that I can get. I just planted some currants in the front. Those are edible for humans as well as native and good for the birds and other things. So I want to encourage more bees and birds. Deer come wandering around. Not so much the raccoons and the possums, because I'm not big fans of them because of what they did to my chicken. So, but birds, I love birds. Going to try and get some more of those. Mason bees, incorporate more of those. So that's what I'm working on. That's on my project list. So what you can do is you can help with the recycling. You can make your own mason bee house. All you have to do is get an empty can or jar or something like that. And I've actually made some of these, and you can get toilet paper rolls, cut them and make them little tubes. Just roll them around a pencil, make little tubes about the size that you saw on my mason bee houses. Stick them in the tin can and then hang it up, or just lay it down somewhere. And mason bees may come and make it their home. So that's something that you can do there. There's all kinds of bird feeders that you can make. You can get a pine cone or a fir cone, put some peanut butter on it, hang it up, and birds love that. All kinds of things that you can do. So just look online. There's all kinds of little projects, Earth Day projects that you can do. It's crazy because when we were in school and I would look for Earth Day projects, so many of them were like, color a picture of the Earth on this piece of paper that you have to print out. Like, how is that an Earth Day project that's just using paper? Anyway, I digress. So, think about how you can make the world a better place on this Earth Day. One thing that has come out of all of this social isolation thing, because this is happening all over the world, not just in Bremerton and not just in Washington and not just the United States. I mean, this is like a worldwide thing. A lot of people are staying home and not allowed to go out. And one of the things in India that I saw, for like the first time in like decades, they have been able to see the Himalaya mountains from India. And they haven't been able to do that because of all the smog and the air pollution. But since people haven't been driving around or factories or things like that, the air has cleaned up and they can actually see the Himalayan mountains. So that's a good thing. There are places where they're able to see fish. The water is getting cleaner because there's not as much traffic and then getting sent to the waterways and things like that. So animals are coming out. I believe, where was it, Yosemite or Yellowstone? They were starting to see a lot more of the animals coming out where they usually weren't because there's no people there because the national parks are shut down. And national parks like Yosemite and Yellowstone are usually, sadly, packed with people normally, so which kind of makes all the animals go away. But now the animals are coming out, so that's kind of cool. The earth is healing itself because people are staying in. So that's one good thing that's coming out of all of this. So if we could just, because of climate change, and if we would just, do this for the earth every so often, that wouldn't be such a bad thing. So, just think about that. Happy Earth Day. First Earth Day was in 1970. So that's 30, 40, 50 years. 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So, special Earth Day. And here it's happening when things are actually improving for the earth, because humans are taking a break. So we will check in with you later. So have a good day, and we'll see you. Bye.